Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to uncover a chilling truth. While Tu Tieu is selling ginger at the Tet market, a hidden deal is quietly moving to seize Mrs. Lan's assets, and Linh may be blocking Tu Tieu from seeing her own mother. If you're curious how these secrets connect, stay with me till the end, and if you enjoy the story, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next episode. Back at Mr. Tuong's company, the air feels polished and controlled. Like every promise comes with fine print. A thick project file lands on the desk. Tuong doesn't open it right away. She taps the cover once and fixes her grandchild with a look that mixes excitement and warning. This project can change everything, she says. Big profits. The kind people chase for years. Then her tone softens, carefully chosen. And in the new year, no one has to worry about workers losing their jobs. That matters. It sounds kind on the surface, but her fingers tighten on the folder, giving away the tension underneath. When profits are this high, the risk is usually hiding somewhere, quietly, patiently, waiting for someone careless to sign first. She slides the file forward. I'm handing this to you. Investigate thoroughly. I don't want pretty words. I want facts, partners, contracts, numbers, every detail. The grandchild straightens and reaches for it, trying to look calm. But the moment their fingertips touch the cover, the pressure shows in their eyes. This isn't a simple task. It's a test of loyalty, and maybe a test of how far they'll go for the family legacy. I understand, the grandchild says. I'll check it carefully and report back. Tuong nods once. Be cautious. People will smile when they want something. They'll turn cold when you become a threat. The grandchild swallows, nods again, and leaves with measured steps. The folder isn't heavy, but the responsibility inside it is. As the elevator doors close, the silence feels like a warning. Once you step into a plan like this, it's hard to pretend you were never involved. And somewhere between profit and protection, the grandchild can already sense the trap. Because every opportunity in this world comes with a hook, cut to the Tet market, and suddenly everything is loud, bright, and real. Vendors shout prices, customers laugh and bargain, plastic bags snap in the wind. The cold air carries a mix of smells, fried snacks, grilled meat, herbs, incense drifting from somewhere nearby. Tu Tieu pushes through the crowd with a sack of ginger from her farm. Her hands are rough from work, but her eyes are steady. She finds a small open spot, sets the ginger down neatly, and takes a breath. Fresh ginger. Homegrown ginger. 15,000 VND per kilo. 15,000 VND kg. Low enough to pull people in, fair enough to respect her labour. At first, it's just curious glances. Then a woman crouches and picks up a root, rubbing it with her thumb. This smells strong, the woman says. Tu Tieu smiles. Because it's fresh. From my farm. Another buyer leans in and inhales. The scent is spicy and warm, cutting through the cold like a tiny pocket of heat. That aroma does what advertisements can't. People trust it. The first woman buys a kilo, then another. A man asks for 2 kilos for ginger tea. Someone wants ginger for pickling. A younger girl asks how to choose the best roots, and Tu Tieu shows her quickly. Firm skin, no soft spots, good weight. Coins clink, bills fold, bags fill. People bargain out of habit, but the mood stays light, almost festive. Tu Tieu laughs, holds her price, and keeps moving. For a brief moment, she feels normal again, like her life is nothing more than honest work and honest sales. And then the pile shrinks faster than she expected. Before she can even catch her breath, she's sold out. She stares at the empty space for a second, stunned. Relief rises in her chest. Real, clean relief. She counts the money carefully, once, then again. It's not a fortune, but it's proof. Her work matters, and people can still choose something honest. A bright smile slips onto her face. Then the wind shifts, sharp and cold, and the smile softens. because the market noise can't drown out the memory of her mother's house, the unnatural silence, the half-closed door, the feeling that someone inside was hiding. And Lin's voice on the phone, smooth and cold. "Your mum went to the countryside. The house has cameras, don't worry." Cameras that didn't exist. Tu Tieu tightens her fingers around the cash. She folds it neatly and tucks it away, as if folding away her worry too. Around her, people keep laughing and shopping, talking about New Year plans. The market looks warm, but the cold keeps slipping in through the cracks, reminding her that family problems don't disappear just because you had a good day. Life looks peaceful, but she's learned that peace can be a mask. Later, the story slides into a warm coffee shop where the lights are soft and the air smells like roasted beans. Chu Tuan sits near the window, relaxed like a man who already knows the outcome. The grandchild arrives, greets him politely and buys coffee first, one cup placed in front of Chu Tuan like an offering. "Chu Tuan, thank you," the grandchild says, forcing a steady smile. "Your plan was perfect. Without it, we never could have taken control of all of Mrs. Lan's assets." The words hang there, heavy. Gratitude on the surface, confession underneath. Chu Tuan smiles as if it's routine. Of course, it was natural. He stirs his coffee slowly. You stayed with Ba Lan long enough. You understood her habits. You knew where she was soft. The grandchild nods, but their grip on the cup is tight. The warmth should be comforting, yet their hand trembles slightly, just enough to show the conscience still alive. Chu Tuan lowers his voice. "Now, about the big project I gave Kongia. She told me to investigate it thoroughly," the grandchild says. "Good," Chu Tuan replies. "Investigate, but also prepare. This isn't just about personal assets anymore. This is about power," he leans in. "We're going to buy shares of Kongia's company, quietly, no face, no name attached. We aim for 80%. 80%. The number lands like a weight in the grandchild's chest. 80? That's hard. People won't sell that much. That's why we won't do it directly," Chu Tuan says smoothly. "We use others, middle hands, different names. If something fails, it fails on them, not on us." The grandchild stares into the coffee. Steam curls upward like secrets twisting into the air. Excitement, fear, and guilt tangle together inside their chest. Chu Tuan's tone turns almost gentle. "When we reach 80%, you'll lead. Your status will change. Your future will change." Mrs. Lan's face flickers in the grandchild's mind. Confused, trusting, hurt. Then the future flickers too, bright, powerful, tempting. The grandchild nods slowly because they don't know how to step back anymore. "Understood," they say. And as they stand to leave, their steps are heavy again. Not from any folder this time, but from the path they've chosen. Outside, the city keeps moving. People shop, laugh, plan for Tet. Life looks calm. But under the calm, the schemes are already in motion. Tu Tieu leaves the market with her hands still smelling like ginger, and her pocket a little heavier than it was this morning. The crowd behind her keeps roaring, vendors calling, kids tugging their parents, the whole Tet season buzzing like it never runs out of energy. But as soon as she turns onto the quieter road leading back to the farm, the noise fades, and what's left is that familiar ache in her chest, the one that always shows up when she remembers her mother. Not the warm memories, the recent ones, the locked door, the silence, the half-closed curtain, Lin's voice insisting there were cameras when there weren't any. It's like the wind has teeth today, and every gust bites into the same question. Why is Lin so determined to keep her away from Mrs. Lan? By the time she reaches the farm, the sky has shifted into late afternoon. The light is soft, golden, almost gentle. Flowers near the fence have bloomed despite the cold, small, bright spots against the earth. Tu Tieu pauses for a second and lets herself admire them, because on days like this, even a few petals can feel like a reason to keep going. She sets her bag down, rolls up her sleeves and gets to work. The ginger she sold earlier is gone. but she kept some of the best roots for herself, ones she wants to turn into tea for the new year. Something warm, something that feels like home, even when family doesn't. She fills a basin with water, then adds salt and lemon. The smell changes immediately, sharp, clean, cutting through the air. She drops the ginger in and scrubs each root carefully, rubbing away dirt and rough skin. It's not just cleaning, it feels like she's trying to scrub away the worry too. Each rinse, each scrub, each swirl of water, like she's telling herself, if I keep my hands busy, my mind won't spiral. But her mind still drifts. Lin's phone call flashes in her memory again, perfectly timed, perfectly cold. The way Lin spoke like she owned the truth. The way she casually said countryside, like that was enough to erase the strange silence in that house. Tu Tieu shakes her head hard, almost angry at herself, and drains the basin. She slices the ginger thin, the knife moving in a steady rhythm, tap, 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 clean and precise. The slices pile up like pale gold coins. Then she pounds part of it to extract juice, the wooden pestle thudding in the mortar with a sound that feels almost like a heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. And with each hit she imagines hitting back against the invisible wall Lin has built between her and her mother. Next, she boils the ginger. Steam rises, carrying warmth into the kitchen. It fogs the air and clings to her skin. For a few minutes the world feels softer. Then she roasts the ginger flesh until it turns golden, deeper, richer, more fragrant. The fire flickers and the scent spreads through the farm like a blanket. It's comforting, familiar, protective. For a moment she actually feels peace. Outside, birds fly back toward their nests. The sky darkens slowly, like someone dimming the world one notch at a time. Tu Tieu squeezes the ginger juice into a jar, and it drips down in slow lines. Thin, golden, almost like tears she refuses to shed. Her hands ache, tired from work, but her heart stays stubborn, because she can't afford to fall apart. Not now. Not with Mrs. Land still out there, alone, hidden, and possibly being controlled. She sets the jar down carefully, wipes her hands, and stares at the phone on the table. She knows one thing for sure now. This isn't going to solve itself. Later that evening, the farm is quiet except for the wind brushing through leaves and the soft crackle of leftover warmth from the roasting fire. Tu Tieu meets her friend near the porch, someone she trusts, someone who has seen her at her lowest and never used it against her. The friend watches her face closely. So, any news about your mum? Tu Tieu's mouth tightens. I went there. And? She didn't come out. The friend's eyebrows lift. She ignored you? It wasn't just ignoring, Tu Tieu says, voice low. The house was wrong, silent, like nobody lived there. But I felt someone inside. I swear I did. The friend shifts uneasy. Then where was Balan? Lin called me, Tu Tieu says bitterly. She said my mum went to the countryside. The friend frowns. That sounds convenient. And she told me there are cameras watching the house, Tu Tieu continues. Like she wanted to scare me into leaving. The friend blinks. Cameras? Tu Tieu lets out a short laugh with no humour. I checked. There were no cameras. The silence that follows is heavy. Because once you realise someone lied about something that specific, you start questioning everything else they've said. The friend leans forward. So you think Lin is preventing you from seeing Balan? I don't just think it, Tu Tieu replies. I feel it. Like Lin has control. Like she's hiding something behind that door. The friend lowers their voice. What do you want to do? Tu Tieu doesn't hesitate this time. Investigate. The friend exhales slowly. How? Tu Tieu reaches into her bag and pulls out a thick stack of money. Her savings, carefully saved over time, plus the cash from today's ginger sale. She places it on the table between them, neat and straight, like she's placing down a decision she can't take back. The friend's eyes widen. Tu Tieu, that's a lot. It's everything I have, she admits. Her hand trembles slightly as she presses the stack flat, as if keeping it from flying away. But if Lin is doing what I suspect, then this is worth it. The friend's voice softens. You're going to hire someone. A detective, Tu Tieu says. Someone professional. Someone who can follow Lin, find out where she goes, who she meets, what she's hiding. The friend hesitates. And you'll pay them now? Tu Tieu shakes her head. I'll pay part now, but the full payment only after results. I need evidence, not rumours. Her eyes sharpen, the softness in her face disappearing. If Lin is holding my mother hostage, emotionally or physically, or manipulating her, I'm going to the police. I won't hesitate. The friend stares at her, measuring her resolve. But Lin knows you. If you show your face, she'll get suspicious. I know, Tu Tieu says, jaw tight. That's why I need you. The friend swallows. You want me to handle it. You're not on Lin's radar like I am, Tu Tieu explains. She watches me. She's ready for me, but she won't expect you. The friend looks down at the money again, then back at Tu Tieu's face. This is a big risk. So is doing nothing, Tu Tieu answers quietly. A gust of wind sweeps across the porch, and the night feels colder. The moon rises behind the trees, pale and steady, like a silent witness. For a second, Tu Tieu's expression softens, not into weakness, but into pain. I keep thinking about my mum. If she's scared, if she's being pressured, if she's been told lies about me. The friend nods slowly, understanding. All right. Tu Tieu's shoulders drop a fraction, like she's been holding her breath for days. You'll do it? I'll do it, the friend says firmly. I'll find someone reliable, and I'll make sure you don't get pulled into the danger directly. Tu Tieu closes her eyes briefly, then opens them with a steadier gaze. Please, I don't need comfort. I need truth. The friend takes the money carefully. Then truth is what we'll get. Tu Tieu stands there in the quiet farmlight, the scent of ginger still clinging to her clothes like a shield. She watches her friend leave, footsteps fading into the night. And as the darkness stretches longer across the ground, Tu Tieu's heart doesn't get lighter, but it gets stronger. Because tonight she stops waiting for answers. Tonight she starts hunting them. Tu Tieu visits the bustling Tet market to sell homegrown ginger for 15,000 VND kiyum. And her fragrant roots quickly sell out, giving her a brief moment of pride and relief. But the cold wind reminds her of a deeper pain, Mrs. Lan still refuses to see her, and Lin's suspicious phone call about cameras feels like a calculated lie meant to keep them apart. Meanwhile, at Mr. Tuong's side, a secret plan expands from seizing Mrs. Lan's assets to manipulating a major company project through hidden share purchases. Back at the farm, Tu Tieu processes ginger into aromatic tea, trying to calm her thoughts, but her worry hardens into action. She gives her savings to a trusted friend to hire a detective, determined to gather evidence, expose Lin's schemes, and protect her mother no matter the cost.